Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join me in the beautiful landscape of Scotland. For today's adventure, we're joined by Highlander 87 out here. For today's adventure, we're in the beautiful landscape of Perthshire, and this is actually the road between Kirkmichael and Pitlochry, I think, at the far end. And yeah, we're on a wee adventure, basically exploring this area of Scotland and seeing what's kicking about. And we're starting off here at this little bridge, which used to be the main road. I'm pretty sure the old main road used to come right along here and then over and then round, whereas obviously it's been changed at a more modern time there. And yeah, there's some cool stuff up here, like this little abandoned farmhouse that stands up on the hill with so much character in front of these vast cliffs and heather hills up behind it. It's just such a cool scene. And yeah, this sign up here actually says 800 metres to the Brerachan Falls. Brerachan Falls, folks, I can hardly even say it. Would you pronounce that as Brerachan? Check it out, folks, look. Brerachan Falls. Let's head up here, folks, anyway. That's obviously further up there, whereas this little house is what we're up here to look at. Super cool. And we thought it's cool coming in here. This is grazing lands for the sheep, and we do come with respect to the farmer and the landowners. But when the sheep in the field, they also get rid of the ticks and stuff like that. So it's better to walk in an area like this sometimes at this time of year. And it's cool having these areas in Scotland. It's always somewhere different to explore. It's been years since I was in this neck of the woods exploring, and I've always wanted to come back up and see what's happened to this little farmhouse and this wee farm that's up on the hill. And it's crazy at this time of year, all the sheep and the lambs are kicking about in these fields, and we'll love to see it on the channel. I'm sure last time I was in this neck of the woods I actually rescued a sheep. It was stuck in a fence. Look at all those horseflies fleeing there in a bundle. And loads of these sheep. It's so cool to see it, folks. Look at this. All these trees would have been planted probably at the time of this old farmhouse here. Look at the size of this tree here too, lying down. It's been blown down probably in a storm that you get up in these mad Highland hills. Wow, what a scene of Scotland. A place like this has got so much character. So let's have a look, folks. Once we're out of these trees, this would have been the wee farmhouse garden or whatever probably at one time. Yeah, check the character of this. Absolutely mad. There's loads of motorbikes as well today, fleeing up and down this road. It's a good road for the motorbikes, but it's a bit narrow. Also, the Glen Shea road is really popular, and it's just at the other side of these hills here. I need to watch because the horsefly things land on you and nip you without you even noticing them. Yeah, wow, what a scene of history right here on the channel, folks. A little farmhouse, and it's been changed and adapted at a certain time. There would have been a little croft cottage here probably originally, and then as the years progressed they would have made this bigger house, like a two-storey building, and these all sheds and stuff will be far older. Let's take a look, folks, in the door. You know how it is on the channel. I'm just having a look in, folks. Obviously, like I say, I come with respect to the landowner, but also I'm not wanting to get hurt here in the structure. Check it out, wow. Look, that floor has fallen, and this above my head could fall. Look at the old stairs. This is what I love about Scotland. Adventures like this, folks. Little houses like this. The last remains of them before they fall down fully. Wow. It's in a poor state. Look at the old fireplace that still stands up on top of that right there. Yeah, the rear wall of this place is held with acro props holding up the main lintels. Look how the fireplace and stuff's still like hanging on in there. Wow, and the wee shelves is in the corner at the far side. built at an ancient time, but I believe 1800s, 'cause that's when they had the lath and plaster. But an interesting detail, I'm not seeing any evidence of electronics. Wow, it's so dangerous being underneath this roof. Yeah. Yeah, because I think that's the same fireplace I was seeing here, up there. Wow, what a mad little house, folks, and what an adventure coming to a place like this to see it. Look at the old front door. That's what some Scottish houses was like. Anyway, let's keep this adventure moving, folks. You know how it is. I love the character of it though, with the wee windows. Here, there's a cool set of steps up here beside the building. Imagine looking out your view over that mad landscape. You can see so far. Look, that'll be Mount Blair away in the far distance of Glenila. Okay, and that's Mount Blair of Glenila way down there, folks. And that has featured on some other videos when we've been out and about. Look at these old stairs. There's not much of them left, but they led up the side of the building to the second story. And then that shows it would have been like a loft or a farm building here at the higher height. This is where the stairs would have come up to. And then you would have walked obviously in there to the floor height. And wow, yeah, the years of... You can see how the roof's changed, and there's been other roofs. Whoa, those beasties keep landing on me today, those horseflies. But look, this is a proper bog right here. It's probably not that safe to actually head round into it.
This is where it goes down underground.
Whoa. Oh, it drops and goes under the ground at some point. This must have been, I'm not sure, but it's like there's an old stone at the far side of there. I'm not sure what this area's been. And I'm not seeing any remains of like a water wheel or anything like that at this farm. Whoa, check this out, folks. Look, there's the back wall. What a scene. Do you think we should push on around the other way? I think it's safer for no getting weight. We're just out for a casual walk today, folks. A bit of fun throwing the camera on, poking about, showing cool history like this. You can see yourselves the character of a building like this. That's what I love. And in Scotland, it's mad that for years things like this can just sit on the land. It's almost like a museum. It's like time just gets paused on a certain location, and then from that point onwards, the weather just takes its toll. And look, there's even trees and stuff growing out of the roof. What is it? Oh, aye, rhubarb growing here. So that shows it could have been rhubarb for the days of the farm garden. Oh, I wonder what else was growing in that area. Maybe at one time little stairs coming down in this area. So overgrown now, or especially at this time of year. Wow, this is super cool, folks. We love to see things and imagine how they were originally back in the days when these farms were in their prime. Imagine the people that maybe looked out the upstairs window over this view, or to see how their farm was getting on. Maybe cows getting herded in or out of sheds, or getting sorted out.
It's been a big farm.
Yeah, in its day, it's been a fair size of a farm. And often these places are taken over by bigger farms in the area, and they just obviously use the land. Sometimes buildings like this can be used for sheep, even to this day. Yeah, wow, it's like a bedrock chunk in the wall. Like there's a fly of some sort just flying around my hand.
That's always been then, they've just built around.
Probably, yeah, that's an original stone. Look, the path, we'll go up here and have a look through. I don't know if this is the path that continues further round. Maybe no. I don't know how good this path actually is. Yeah, I don't know how far it goes. Oh, we're heading under, folks. It's the exploring spirit that gets us through. Yeah, I think that has been a building, and that tree has actually fallen on it. Look at the size of the tree. Yeah, this is actually an okay area here. And this is actually a cool angle of this building. It's like they've had a stove in that building there, because there's a hole in the wall as if a pipe has gone up, and then the clay chimney has been put into the wall. So that's been a little hussy as well. But some farms also had like a cattleman who would be on site, staying in an area like that. So that could have been what that is. See, there's another track leads all the way. And I think that's the one that takes you to the Brerachan Falls, Ken, which is just around the corner. So we should maybe punch on and do that as well, folks. Just include that all in this nugget. It's a fun wee explore of a video. So yeah, let's get into action. It's mad how that tree has literally like crushed those buildings, eh? There's been so many little buildings and sheds here originally. And look at the doorway going in. Whoa, there's so many of these horseflies here, I can't exaggerate to you. Let's take a look in, folks. Yeah, wow. Think of the history here, folks. It has had a roof, I can see the wood and the slates. Think of the wee door also that's probably been on that location. Yeah, the trees and nature just takes back over, eh? But like the weight of a tree falling on that, it had no chance. This has been another little farmyard kind of area here, because I can see the surrounding wall, and this whole area has been built up from the level of the field, and that shows the amount of landscaping often that went in like at the early time of these farms. Check it out, folks, we've got a newborn little lamb up here on the hill. We're just going to keep on going so we didn't startle it, because it could be hours old even, I don't even know. It's probably not that old, I would say. But look how this view here is opening up now. We've come around the corner from the last ancient wonder, and it's such a beautiful landscape. That's the only way to describe it. The way these high mountains are in the distance, and then these forests, and then the wee road kind of weaves its way through all that. And then at this side we've got the wild heather and moorland, and then every now and again we've got these motorbikes coming down through. That thing sounds like a big Harley. Let's see if we can hear it when he opens the throttle up on the next straight piece. Hear it? You get all sorts of bikes up here, folks, on these roads, and it's cool to see them. Look at this, we've followed the track a bit further here, folks, and you can actually see there's the track. We've come around there from the abandoned house, but check out this. It's almost like an old road here, marked on the land by these big boulders at the side. And this could be an old track which linked up with that lower down one originally. So it's super interesting to see it, because along here by the waterfall there is another croft. So I was just theorising this could have been one of the old tracks which led along the hill to it. So it's interesting to see that as well. So check this out here, folks, never seen before on the channel. Look, we can see clear remains here of what has been a structure or a wall line at an ancient time. And I just love to see that. When we're exploring, finding new places often, or even old marks like this that tell a wee story of history. And it shows how much has gone on in these lands for hundreds of years. Considering how old that first house is we saw, stuff like this is so much more ancient. That's what makes it cool. Sometimes just like a faint scar on the land that you see. And yeah, I had never seen this before in my life. Look at this, this has been a proper big building here, maybe even a house. And look, there's been another building there as well, or another wall line of such. Wow, that's so cool to see. Because I'm sure I was up this glen one time before, but walked along there and down, and there had been like an old farmhouse down at that area with a croft. But it's almost like this one here has been separate. Yeah, what a scene, folks. You can see how the back wall here joins in. Look at this here, folks, how the old boundary line leads down here, built with stones. Now it looks like a mound because the grass is growing over the top of it, but that actually leads right around to where we saw the stones at the other side of the croft. So potentially before that back wall was even built, the tracks always come this way over the hill, and this would have led down to this other farming area at the bottom of the hill. And there's so many wall lines and dike lines. And yeah, this waterfall's meant to be over here, the Brerachan Falls I think it's called. almost see here as well, there's been like a building. Often the groundworks can still be seen because they've levelled an area out and there's just enough of the wall lines to be seen that you can get an aspect of what has been around. And this has been a proper croft or settlement here, probably for the longest time. It's like that's just sheared in half, eh, that stone.
And then you've got this.
Yeah, that could be for the sheep though, maybe kind of walking around it. Check this out folks, we've made it as far along as these waterfalls, but today, because of the dry conditions we're experiencing in Scotland, it's actually no flowing that strong. Look at it here. It's actually an unusual, the way it flows over the bedrock. See, normally if it was flowing quite strongly, I don't think you could climb about in it too easily. Yeah, it's just, there's hardly any water basically flowing. Here we are, we're in the middle of the Brerachan Falls. Look how clear the water is. There is actually some of that. Whoa, see that beastie? I had to blow it away. It was on my arm. But aye, there's some of that algae stuff. So, aye, I don't know how pure the water is. You could probably swim about in it alright. You could probably drink it as well, it'll be fine. It'll be a lot purer than seawater anyway, for sure. This is so cool folks, seeing each little pool, it must be the way the bedrock is constructed. It gives that character, and up there, that's one of the coolest bits. There's no much flow today though really, and that's just making it a trickle. Here, that's really deep, that pool there. Whoa! Wonder what little creatures you get in there, living their best life. Check that out, Dave. Oh aye, about, what's that, 10 motorbikes or something, maybe no quite. A good heap of motorbikes making their way up in a crew. Then we're at the opposite side of the valley in this incredible place folks. Yeah, it's such an unusual landscape. Here, it looks like there's a wee pool up there. I'll just head to this next section. Look, it's like a natural stairway. Yeah, this is a cool spot here. I'm going to hop over to the centre section here. Yeah, at times of storms and stuff, or when there's high waters and a lot of rain, this place is ferocious. And it would be super dangerous to even get to this area probably. But in a summer's day like today, or early summer conditions, it's just low. We've not really had much rain this past few weeks and all the burns look like this. It's cool just to see that variation of stuff in Scotland. One minute you're looking at history from like 1600s or before it, and then next minute a magical piece of landscape like this. And look at sheer bedrock. Yeah, in this part of Scotland the bedrock's never far away from the surface of the soil. Look at it here, eh? It's all unique. Each area will go further up the waterfall. It's like individual unique little waterfalls or little twists and turns. That's crazy the way those stones have almost like blocked it. Yeah, look, that stone's blocking it pretty much there. Is that metal? No, unless there's been a water tank or something, maybe for a trough at a certain time. Wow, this is a crazy spot in the land. It's mad throwing the camera on and seeing wee corners of Scotland like this. Yeah, that view is getting cooler and cooler. The further up here we're punching. Oh, aye, that bit there is super cool. There's different character to each little section, eh? Some areas the water looks stagnant. Yeah, the water must have been bypassing the stone here at the time of the floods. Or the time of the high waters. Whoa, I was about to slip off of here. I just started thinking about adders once I climbed up. You get adders sometimes chilling on rocks at this time of year. Wow, what a scene. That is actually a cool bit there. It's like a ridge with a path down it. Must be an animal path. Look at this, folks, we're above the waterfall here. And look at this other side of this crest. It's into that valley we walked along the side of. And yeah, the waterfall just keeps on going. This is the most we've ever explored, the Brerachan Falls. Look at this, folks, you can see how at this higher level of the waterfall, in storms it would definitely be coming over here, whereas today it's just at the far side. There's a wee bird, it just flew out of here. Yeah, look at this, this is over the edge and you can see way down the valley, down the side of the area we came in, where that abandoned farmhouse is. We're now up on the higher hill here, and look, there must be a high iron content in the stone here, because you can see how they're actually rusting through this seam, through this area of rock. Yeah, this would all be flowing with water normally, so that's interesting as well. That makes sense as to why that would be rusty, because normally the water would be like gushing over here. This is a cool bit here because it's been washed clean for the river. Yeah, it just kind of keeps on going and going. It's amazing to see those hills. See how there's like another channel over there? Yeah, it looks interesting, eh? But whoa, some of these pools are deep. I nearly jumped over to there. We're just here to peek around this corner, folks, because we've made it right to the top of the hill pretty much. Well, to the top of this area where it's rocky. Here, look at that, the dike's been built over the top of the waterfall. Here, is this the waterfall to speak of? Hey, is that it meant to be there? No way. Maybe the whole thing though is classed as the waterfall, really, eh? I've never seen this bit up here though, where the dike line is. So check it out, folks, it's a little spot in paradise right here, and this here is incredible to see. Obviously there's not a big flow of water like I mentioned earlier in the video, but just look how grand this area is, and look how they've built the dike line over the top of the waterfall. That is a special scene. And then there's these massive chunks of bedrock lying about. Yeah, I'm punching on up here, folks, you know how it is. We're all about the adventure on this channel, and we've always just come this extra little bit to see the coolest things, and this is one of them. It's literally like a mad wee... we're on a mad wee island in the middle of this waterfall. I was wondering if I was able to maybe walk up this waterfall here. I'm going to try and go up here. Look, this is the main waterfall now, coming under the dike line. Look at this rock looks different to the other ones. Check it out. This particular rock here has got loads of those oars on them. This is so cool, that's pretty deep. You could sit in there and chill. Oh, stay safe. Highlanders found a rock and rock. We better not put it in. That could be for the dike. Look how they've built this dike, folks, over the top of the waterfall, with these lintel stones holding the top. And then look, they've put multiple holes for different water conditions. And even to this day, look, it comes through under there. And then at the far side, we're dealing with this. It's just on the mad hill. Yeah, there's nothing underneath it, eh? Wow. Oh aye, there's just nothing underneath there. That's quite a nice pool, but it's quite like full of that kind of algae. Are you thinking of jumping over it there? No. Climbing up here. Imagine the whole thing just fell down though. I don't really want to knock it down. Highlander fell in the North Sea last weekend, folks. I've never said it on the video yet, but we don't want to fall in here, eh? Because we're in dangerous predicaments often on the videos, and it is important to stay safe and often take the safe option when you're on adventures. And like, here we are, we're looking down here, we're on a waterfall, Ken. And it's a bedrock seam here, worn smooth. But it's just amazing to see what they did here so they could continue their decline along. They would just hope their sheep obviously didn't escape through the one hole. And yeah, look at the size of that massive chunk of bedrock there. Here, I'm waiting to jump over at that, I think. Here we go, folks. We're away to look at this crazy massive chunk of what must be stone. Some of these stones are left behind for like the glaciation period in times like that. Wow, this is a huge stone right here. I was thinking of actually climbing on top of it, but I don't know how good my hand grip is. There's no much to grip onto at this side. Check it out. This is a massive nugget, separate to the bedrock seam that's through the land. Yes, we've made it, folks. Look, we're on top of the world here, overlooking this mad landscape. Shout out Highlander down there. You can see him on the waterfall. That gives you an idea of the size of these places and the structures. When you see how little a human looks on that massive cliff, you could call it like. Now look at this, this is crazy the way that this is here. Here it almost looks like there's a secret hole leading in down under this rock. A secret hole. I've got to go down and investigate, folks. It's always the maddest little spontaneous adventures. Let's check it out. Wow, I'm always keeping one eye down, thinking of adders, folks, at this time of year. Yeah, under here, I couldn't see from above, it looked like a cave. Whoa! Oh, it must be a wee hidey hole for the sheep. Yeah, it's a cave just naturally occurred by the way the rock has broken. I don't see any old Iron Age cave paintings in there, folks. Yeah, there's a big difference between the natural constructions like this and then the things that we've seen, which are human constructions.
Like that wall.
Like the way the wall's built over the bedrock. It's crazy how humans just basically can build their way through the crazy lands like this to get what they need. Even building walls in like the wildest places. Look how these ferns are starting to come back through. And that's how a lot of these look brown, and that's the dead ferns from last year that's still in the ground and all over these hills in Scotland. See the way the ferns though, they grow, they unroll. The way their leaves unroll, they just, it's crazy to see, folks. And they're at all different conditions and growth right here on the hill. And in a few months you wouldn't be able to walk here because everything's just getting so overgrown for the summer. But it's cool to come here today because we've seen actually quite a lot on this hill and more of this waterfall than I've ever seen in my life, and documenting those other old buildings on the hill there as well. That's so much fun to find that. And this is the craziest thing, and I reckon this area here is probably what they call the falls of Brerachan, because it's far more impressive here. Imagine that if the water was going right down there. That would be incredible. Maybe one day we'll have to come back in a storm or something, maybe no. You know what I mean, folks? These places can be extreme, eh? It would be cool to see. Look, somebody's going down that forestry track at the far side of the glen. There's wee roads going all around these places and just so much to be found, as we've discovered with today's adventure. Coming around here, it's so cool. Check it out, folks, we're taking a secondary route back over this hill, out of this madness we just explored, up and around that waterfall. We're basically going to head kind of diagonal. If we can get a gap in that dike line probably up there, we'll just punch on across the moorland, because when we came in we were lower down on the hill when we found that old settlement or building. And it's amazing to think what else may be hidden within the lands of Scotland still to be found. What a place this is, folks. Check it out, folks. We've come up onto this prominent piece of land for this next clip here on our way back, and look, you can see the outline of those buildings that we saw earlier in the video. That's cool to see it from this higher aspect. Yeah, I'm parked way down, roughly where that cottage is. We're kind of up at the higher level of the glen on the higher hill, but we're still within the field kind of area here. Mission update, folks. We're further along the hill, and look, we're just thinking this looks like there's been something here. It is not much to see at this point, but it does look like there's been a rectangle of some sort. But yeah, there's other waterways and stuff leading around, like channels. Oh, aye. And I think that's a Civic Integra going in the middle. DC5. And then an MX5 behind. There's loads of different vehicles at the far side, folks, and you hear them all. Oh, are you noticing that thing there?
Aye.
What did you think that was? A Lotus?
What, the red one?
No, the blue one.
Oh, I don't know.
The red one's a Ferrari, eh? Ferrari and stuff over there right now, folks. Crazy scenes out here today. History update, folks. Mission update. Well, we're noticing this big hole there, right? And I was saying it looks man-made. And then I was thinking maybe no, it's hard to tell. And then we noticed this. It's like a big channel which has been dug right down this hill, and it leads right down to there. So it's likely to be an old water supply for a farm, or for one of the farms within this area, because often they would have a source of water held way up a hill or whatever, feeding their water wheel. But I didn't see a water wheel at the farm we first explored, so it's interesting to theorise or to document the history that does remain. And see another interesting deal, that other waterway that comes down the hill also goes into this hole. So that shows this hole here is a historical hole. It's a historically dug hole here, folks. And it could be from any time period, but I'm guessing like 1700s or thereabouts, maybe 1600s. Hey, this has been dug here for the water because there's two water sources coming down. The natural water source there, and then this one here looks like a secondary burn's been rerouted. And this could have been a lot deeper, because sometimes wells and things or water sources were dug super deep. That's cool to see that and to document it, and it shows we came a different route on the way along, and it's worth it. And it shows how much has been done on the land as well at a previous time in history to be documented. On an adventure like this, there's so many wee nuggets just in one place. It's cool to throw the camera on and just put them all in one video. And you can see even here how there's an old wall lying around the edge of this whole area. Check it out, folks, we're cutting back across here and look at the wee lambs in the field. We just love to see it, the sheep and the lambs on the adventure, the motorbikes fleeing past at the opposite side, and the scene of history that we've seen today on this adventure as we've travelled through these lands and seen the remains of history all the way from an 1800s farmhouse and ancient croft all the way to those other old ruins from a far more ancient time, basically. And it's cool to document everything, even that waterfall, the Brerachan Waterfall. We punched on right up to that cool area near the top of it, and it's just been so much fun. But now we're back down to the main road, and also the old main road bridge. What an angle of history this is to end it. Today we've been joined by Highlander 87 out for this scene. Today it's been Perthshire as well. Often it's Angus on our adventures, but it's fun in the summer often punching on to these other locations and different pieces of landscape and seeing what's around. And in a future video I think I'm going to go on up to like Pitlochry and stuff as well. Check this out here, look, that's the name of the waterfall if anybody actually wants to look it up. The Brerachan, I'm probably saying it wrong, folks, and yeah, that's such an amazing old bridge. I just love wee corners of Scotland like this, and at this time of year it's not too overgrown. I think at the top of that waterfall and stuff it'll get really overgrown in the summer. The more of the year that passes, those ferns and stuff are starting to perk up and grow in the land as well. Anyway, we're ending it here. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye from me, goodbye from Highlander, and we'll catch you very soon with the next adventure, wherever I end up going.